Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Monday. Thanks again for tuning in to the Holistic Alternative. I am Ann Mejia, and I'm delighted to have you with us today. We have a truly special guest joining us. He's a well-known actor, best recognized for his roles on HBO's The Wire and We Own This City. Beyond his acting career, he's a remarkable example of resilience. Someone who leaned on his faith to overcome the aftermath of surviving a tornado. Right now, he's involved in several new projects and is in the process of putting together a special new endeavor. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Chaney to the show. Trey, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
I can't. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Julie, I can't hear you.
Can everyone hear me? Testing, 1, 2, testing. Can you hear me now, Trey?
I can't.
There we go. Can you hear me now? Testing, 1, 2, testing.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You can hear me.
Hold up. Whatever you just did, then I could hear you. Let me see something.
You got it. Technical difficulties, everyone. You never plan for these.
Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I don't know why I can't hear you, Julie.
That is very weird. My mic is working.
Sorry, just to jump in, I can hear both of you totally fine. Just so you know.
Yeah, because I can't hear Julie.
That's weird. I can hear both of you. Why don't we take a commercial break while we figure out what's going on?
Okay.
Take a quick break, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Testing. Hi, everyone. We're back. Let's see if we can figure this out. Can everyone hear me?
It's something.
Trey, can you hear me now?
I don't know why I can't hear.
Trey, can you hear me now? Figuring it out. That's really weird.
The camera.
Gotta love the technical difficulties. Let's take a look here and see what's going on.
Man.
Hi, I'm going to jump back in. I'm thinking, Trey, can you log off and log back in and maybe that will...
Yeah, let me do that. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
In the meantime, Julie, you can carry on.
Absolutely. Sometimes this happens. You have technical difficulties. There's nothing we can plan for on this. Everything was working backstage prior, but we're excited to have Trey on, and let's try this again in a moment here. Thank you guys for bearing with us through the technical difficulties. I'm glad my mic seems to be working. I took off my headset. Jacqueline, you can hear me, correct?
Yes, I can hear you. In the meantime, while we're waiting for Trey to come back, why don't you give a little bit of background about how the two of you connected?
Absolutely. So Ven and I, who we worked together on some collaborations in regards to hemp procurement and different things, suggested that, you know, this project that he's working on with Trey would be something of interest. So it's been a great honor to have.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear us now?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
I can. Yeah.
Congratulations. All right. Awesome. Technical difficulties are always fun. Thank you
I know.
thank you for
Yeah.
being a part of it, right? The people plan and universe laughs at us. So we
Yeah.
just roll with it as it comes.
Thank you.
Trey, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your background, how did you get into acting in some of your previous roles?
Yeah, well, I started off in the entertainment business at the age of 8 years old as a hip hop artist and dancer. That's what a lot of people, knew me from, performing at Apollo Theater in New York City, from the age 8 years old till about 13 or 14. I remember winning first place like 5, 6 times and opening for acts like Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, Slick Rick, like these are some of my OGs to this day, that I still keep in contact with. And, just starting off at a very young age, I always tell people I knew what I wanted to do at 8 years old. A lot of 8-year-olds in elementary school, they just, they go to school and they might not necessarily know, but my mom and dad, it was always instilled in me just to be in the entertainment business. I come from a huge family of entertainers that love music, that love rap, that love acting. And I want to say, just to fast forward from 8 years old to maybe like 18, I think I did my last dance performance at 18 years old in my hometown, which I'm originally from Fullsville, Maryland, Washington, D.C. I did it at a venue called Lincoln Theater. And then that kind of sparked, like, I guess you could say I caught the acting bug because Linda Townsend, who's a talent manager in Maryland, which is, like I said, where I'm from in the DC area, she was at that show and she discovered me at the talent show as a dancer, but she said she doesn't work with hip hop artists or dancers. She only works with actors, and she kind of threw it out there. She said, have you ever imagined yourself being on TV, or do you want to act? And I was like, yeah, I would love to act. I took drama in high school, and I remember her telling me to get the proper headshots. My resume only consisted of traveling around the world as a dancer and hip hop artist. So she said she could still work with the fact that I came from that music dance background, because the thing that she loved was I wasn't stage fright. So if I was to get a play, if I was to get a television show, if I was to get a movie, she just knew. She said, look, the way you remember lyrics in your rap songs, you can definitely remember a script. So make a long story short, the first job that Linda Townsend submitted me for as an actor in the year 2001 was The Wire. That was my
Wow.
first job she submitted me for as an actor. And yeah, the rest is like history 23 years later. Yeah.
That's incredible. And, you know, your presence on that show and everything that you've touched has been
Thank you.
profound. Yeah, no, you're incredibly talented. So it's an honor and a privilege to have you here. And, you know, besides the acting, you know, you're just a resilient human being and person of
Thank
strength.
you.
If you feel comfortable, I'm not trying to cause any type of PTSD or anything. I know
Yeah.
it's difficult to talk about, but can you share with viewers a little bit about what you and your family went through in May of 2025?
Yeah, well, 2025 was definitely a life-changing experience for me. My son Malachi Chaney and my wife Aisha Chaney. And what happened was regular chill day, May 29th, 2025. We were actually celebrating the 23-year anniversary of The Wire. And, I was doing some press that morning. Malachi was home from college because my son, he's a sophomore in college, but he had finished his freshman year, and, got good grades. And he was on like a slight like break, it was like a spring break. And, we're doing a whole bunch of press, Big Tigger Show, Fox 5 News, CBS, we all over the place. And it was actually, we were doing it with Snoop from The Wire. But once we had finished doing press that morning, we went home, which is where, I had my house built in 2020. But of course, 2025, we lived in Locust Grove, Henry County, Georgia. And when we went home, we were actually packing because Malachi's birthday is June 1st. So we were packing to go out of town to visit family back home. And I just remember the sky, it looked kind of gloomy. And, when it rains, you don't really think nothing of it. You're like, okay, it's raining a little bit. This will pass. And then we'll be able to, continue moving around the city like we were. But we were in the house, we were packing, and the last thing that Malachi said to me was that he wanted to go play his video game while I continued to pack. We were waiting for my wife to get home. This was maybe like around 3:15, 3:20. And I want to say, like, once I heard the door close in his room was on the left side of the house upstairs. We had a two-level home, and he was on the left side. Me and my wife's room is on the right side. So for some reason, he went in his room. I could hear him in there playing the game with his friends or whatever online because it was just him in his room. And then I sat on the edge of my bed and I was texting. I was texting family members that were on the way, and for some reason, I was fully clothed because I was getting ready to take my clothes off to shower, take a nap, and wait for my wife to get home. But I was fully clothed, and for some reason, like instantly, it sounded like it was a train in my beside me, like almost in my backyard because my bed, the way it sits, I'm looking out to my backyard, but it sounded like a train was like in my house. It was beside me, and then everything just kind of went pitch black. And next thing you know, I looked at my walls flat towards my face, my TVs, my dressers, everything you could think of in my house, and my body levitated in the air. And of course, not knowing what I was experiencing, I was yelling my son's name, but you know all I remember is waking up. I know I had been unconscious maybe a little more than a minute, but when I woke up, my face was buried in mud. My head, the right side of my head was a big gash, a big knot on my head. It was bleeding, and I was wrapped in sheets. So I'm like, okay, if this felt like a dream. When I lift the sheets off of my head, my roof was gone. So
Wow.
I looked to my right, nothing. I see debris, I see parts of my house. When I looked to my left, it was pavement. So the first thing, adrenaline, and I thank God that I had the adrenaline and that I was able to jump up. Because when I jumped up, it was pouring down raining, but I'm looking at my whole house disappear.
Wow.
Done. Like I'm looking at debris around me. My neighbors are running full speed, um, like towards me, and they're grabbing me, they're checking me, they're trying to help because it was like I was a little delusional. I was just out of it a little bit, like what is going on? Where's my son? That was the first thing I said out of my mouth, and they were like, what are you talking about? And I said, my son was like in the next room. The way I was pointing was just pavement and dirt.
Wow.
So this comes to me like letting our viewers know right now that my house was hit by an EF2 tornado, 135 miles per hour winds that destroyed our entire home. We lost everything you can imagine, from the car, the clothes, the jewelry, whatever was in the house. Anything that you could think of that's in your house right now, we lost it, you know. So and this was without warning. This wasn't like a, you know, because even that morning of us doing press and us driving around and going out to eat, we had a great morning, waking up to 3:30 p.m., you know. So yeah, my house was hit, and you know, I always say my life kind of it began, you know, May 29th, 2025. Like, because I've never experienced anything on that level of trauma. I've never experienced anything that tripped my mind out, or that made me, you know, something devastating. You know, my whole life I've been on this earth for 44 years, and I don't know, you know, nothing that has impacted and has changed my life or affected me to this point, you know. But yeah, the house was hit, and now, you know, we're looking at 8 months later of everything that's just been happening, you know, from having to adjust to a new life, not knowing whether our son was going to live May 29th to see him now getting straight A's as a sophomore in college, losing everything, losing my house, all of my belongings, having to stay in hotel after hotel after hotel, having to rent a car until I was actually able to get another car. And just, you know, everything you could think of that was lost. It's like, okay, I got to go get a passport. I got to go get a social security card. I got to get bank cards. I got to get, you know, so it's like the
Completely rebuilding, and that's traumatic.
rebuild.
It's
Yeah,
traumatic. You're born again essentially because you
yeah,
know, you survived it. You survived
yeah,
it. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, you trying to look for your son at that point and
yeah,
what Malachi survived and went through too, because I know this has
yeah,
been found for all of you.
yeah. So once the neighbors ran up, and once I made them aware that my son was in the house, the search for him started. But it was chaotic. It was like they were looking for him. It was pouring down raining. The next words out of my mouth was, call my wife. My wife was up the street at work. Luckily, she only worked 8 minutes away. But just the thought as a father, you know, as a husband, as a protector, as a provider, not knowing exactly where my son was, it's the worst fear that I could ever. I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared of nothing. But that was the worst fear, of me being scared, just looking for him and not knowing where he was, or not knowing even if he was living, from looking at the pictures of the home and looking at everything that was around, that was surrounding us. So once I called my wife, I didn't even call. I just gave my neighbor the number while I was standing there, because I couldn't even talk. I was so devastated. And I could hear my neighbor saying, Aisha, hurry up and get home. Something traumatic has happened to your house, your home. But my wife not really knowing until she pulled up. That was another piece of this whole traumatic, devastating life experience. She pulls up, and she's pulling up to the house that we had built in 2020. You know, 5 years later, she's looking at it destroyed completely.
Wow.
And her first initial reaction, I've never, in 21 years of being married to my wife, I've never heard a woman scream and cry like that in my life. You know, if it wasn't for my neighbors being, she was probably like a couple of feet from me, but if it wasn't for my neighbors being there with her, she could have passed out and hit her head or something on it, because she fainted, you know. And then when she came back to her senses, she runs to me, and she's patting me down. But the worst thing that I've ever said to my wife in 21 years of marriage, she asked me, where's Malachi? Where's our son? I said I didn't know. That was the worst thing I've ever said to her, you
I,
know, because
yeah. I can't
yeah,
even
because
imagine like processing
yeah.
all that. You're in shock. She's now in shock coming into it. It's and
and
you're
and neither one of us know where he is. So I mean, just think that that continued for a good 25 minutes of just not, but on top of the 25 minutes, you got to think about another 15, 20 minutes that it actually hit the house. I'm up in the air. He's thrown 300 feet, 100 yards. When the paramedics, when the Henry County Fire Rescue Squad got there, they measured it, when they actually found him, because they found Malachi 300 feet, 100 yards away in the woods. I lived on the end unit in a new development where all it was woods and trees. So if, I thank God, because what if I wasn't sane? What if I was the one that was unconscious and never woke up, or when I did wake up, I didn't remember my son was in the house. This could have been a totally different outcome. So with that, once they found him, and shout out to one of my neighbors that actually found him, my man Eric, he found Malachi. And when by the time he found him, that's when the paramedics, the Henry County Fire Rescue Squad, that's when they were all pulling up at the same time. So right now, my world and my life is just happening all in real time. And then on top of that, it's still pouring down raining.
Wow.
So just picturing or thinking about, man, my son was laid out, nobody couldn't find him, and it was pouring down. I mean, that could have, he could have choked on water, just being unconscious out there like that. But once they put him on a stretcher and they rolled him around, he was making noise. He was yelling in pain. So me and my wife, of course, we couldn't stop, crying, and we were just completely destroyed, off of this. And I'll never forget one of the Henry County Fire Rescue Squad team members. He said, I know this is, this is painful, but be glad that he's making noise. It was almost like a baby being born,
Yeah.
because it's like, if that baby, when that baby comes out and that baby's not making no noise, then you got a problem.
Absolutely.
So the fact that, once he gave us a little bit of, relief, just a little bit. But, once the ambulance was there, we thought we were going to the same hospital as my son. Turns out we wasn't going to the same hospital, because they wanted to take me. I had to get x-rays because of the trauma from my head. I had a gash, and I'm like, no, I'm okay. I want to go with my son. They're like, no, you got to get treated as well.
Right.
But Malachi's injuries were a lot more intense and a lot more worse than what I had went through. I fell with the house and collapsed, woke up with the gash. He was thrown 300 feet. So that means, if you picture it or if you think about it, being thrown 100 yards the size of a football field out of the window. I mean, that's just, this kid is playing a game and you're thrown, so it's like,
Crazy.
oh yeah, so he had to be rushed to Grady Hospital, the trauma unit. I went to Piedmont Hospital Center, which was close, but yeah, he had to be rushed there. And some of the injuries, Julie, was broken ribs, every bone in his face fractured, broken neck, um, punctured lungs, bleeding on the brain. So he has a brain injury, for life. But to see the miracle of over time, the course of him, the ribs healing, the metal plate that he has in his face, um, the neck brace comes off in July. It came off in July, and to almost, like I always tell people, if I've always had a relationship, a strong relationship with God and the universe, but now I know God and I know what a miracle looks like. I know what it looks like. Me and my son are prime examples. My father, Skip Chaney, he always tells me this could have went different. What if Malachi was thrown and hit it, and his body hit a tree and snapped?
Right.
Or what if when I did fall and collapse with my house, what if the roof would have fell on me? So even though it went bad, it still didn't turn out that way. It turned out this way, where I'm able to talk to you now in Malachi's in Savannah State University, getting straight A's in his sophomore year in college. So it's like, every day this is a every day is this is something that'll never go away, because it's just I'm in therapy for it. I go to therapy 2-3 times a week because I know it's not necessarily no more about me losing everything as far as material, the house, the car, whatever money was left in the house, the clothes, the jewelry. It's not really even about that. I'm in therapy because the way my mind is working, it's like the way God heals the human body is it trips me out, and it's looking at my son go from being on his deathbed to, like I said, straight A's in college. I'm like, whoa, this is mind blowing. So I need to talk to somebody. It's like I can't, it's something that this more than just devastating and traumatic. It's a real live miracle. I just go
No,
ahead.
that's amazing. I'm so excited that you're doing the internal work because again, trauma is no big. It's a very big deal. It's not a small thing that you
Yeah.
survived. And watching your child go through what he went through and yourself and rebuilding, it's no easy task. So
Yeah.
I commend you for doing the things that you need to do to heal internally. And to your point, faith is everything. Your
Yeah.
perspective and how you handled it is tremendous. So thank you for sharing that. I know that's really a difficult piece to discuss. How
Yeah.
your faith and this particular incident shapes some of your projects moving forward. I want to hear it from you. I know about your project.
Yeah, for sure. Well, right now, Vin Viswanathan, that's my brother. That's my partner in production and writing and producing. And I've decided to turn tragedy into triumph. Meaning, we working on a project right now, a documentary TV series called Reborn by the Storm. It's a book, it's a movie, it's a TV series, it's a doc, and Reborn by the Storm is telling the actual story word for word, because who better can tell a story but the people that survived it? So I want this to serve as an inspiration and a motivational tool for people, to let them know that you can overcome. As crazy as it may sound, to be living where we're living at now, to be, constantly rebuilding our lives. And I mean, yeah, it's still painful. It's still painful, it still hurts. But when you think about it, the most important thing that we didn't lose was our lives. So with that, everything from going forward has to be a testimony for people to be able to heal, to be able to draw closer to God, to be able to say, okay, if that family, the Chaney family, went through that, whatever somebody thinks they're going through, you know,
Absolutely.
if it's and people every day, somebody, all of us, we go through so much every day, on a personal level. But to, like I said, to go through surviving a tornado, you don't always hear about that, especially somebody, on in my position. Is, I'm already in the media. I was already, on platforms and different things of that nature. So for something like this to happen to me, it's like, oh, nobody's exempt, from trials and tribulations and struggle. Nobody's exempt from that, but it's how you deal with it. And I feel Reborn by the Storm, this project is going to really tap into, this is how I healed. This is how I'm healing. This is how my son is healing. My wife is healing. And these are some of the things that you need to look for when if something like this happens to you when it comes to insurance, you know, when it comes to the state not declaring what happened to my house a natural disaster. So that left me with not having federal funds. I didn't have no access to federal funding. So just, you know, it's also touching on if I wasn't Trey Chaney from The Wire or some of the other things that I've done, I would have been probably forgotten about. You know, I mean, a lot of people, if they wasn't in my position to have people like Charlemagne the God from Breakfast Club and all TMZ and all these people report on the story or about my GoFundMe, I don't know where I would be right now. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be the example to say, look, these are some of the things you need to look out for. And I'm also in talks right now starting a nonprofit organization to help families that's been through traumatic, devastating, life-changing experiences so they don't have to, you know, worry about insurance procrastinating like they did me and my family, or the state, like I said, not declaring what happened to us a natural disaster. I want to be somebody that can say, look, me and my family were able to survive this. Here, I want to walk you through the steps, and as painful as it may sound, you know, I'm willing to put my image and my face on the line to help somebody else get through something like this if they happen to go through it.
Well, I commend you for that, significantly. And, it takes a lot of strength and courage, right? To go through what you went through and say, hey, I'm going to put this out there. This might be someone else's survival guide to going.
Yeah,
So I commend you for all of that. And I think this is
yeah.
an important story. Who's a good person to reach out to if they're interested in working with you, if they're an executive on a streaming network that they want to support? I know we're starting to put this out for bids with the right partnerships. So who's a good person to reach out to the group in regards to picking up this docuseries?
Well, you on our end, like I said, myself, you know, my partner, then with Swanathan, along with, you know, my Instagram is out there, Trey Chaney Vision, and also if they went to ChaneyWay.com, all of my information is on the site. My contact information, I've been accessible because I've been speaking about this story. Like I said, it's all about trying to help people heal, you know, and really understand it. You got to go through something to get through something. And don't always think that when something traumatic or devastating happens, that it's the end of the world. Because as long as you living and breathing, there it is. You know, you can overcome. But ChaneyWay.com is my website. And my contact info is on there. And like I said, I'm on Instagram, Trey Chaney Vision. People can hit me up, and we're all connected. Like I said, me, my partner Vin, you, Julie, you know, all of us are connected in a way where I feel almost like I know something big is coming out of this because, like I said, it's a true story, you know, and you're hearing it from my mouth. Malachi doesn't have a problem talking about what happened. Aisha doesn't. Another key point is Malachi doesn't remember May 29th through June 11th. So that's a whole nother piece. Him waking up in Shepherd Center, this was after he had went through everything he went through, being in ICU for 2 weeks, and he woke up in his rehabilitation phase. So having to tell a story and go back to the house, he wanted to go see the house. He's like, I wanted to see what I survived, you know, but that's a piece within itself, because even the way he's taking it, it's like, thank God I survived it. You know, thank God I'm living to talk about it. And I'm telling you, to see him now, me and my wife are just so proud of him, because it's this, like I said, this could have went left. This could have went a whole nother way.
But for the grace, right? They say so.
Grace and mercy. Yeah.
There's a reason that you guys are still here. There's a reason you made it, and that you went through everything that you went through. And
Yeah.
I want to be very conscious of your time. I know you took away time from actually to be here today. So
Yeah.
thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This is an important project to me. I do believe this is huge, and your voice matters. So thank you for everything and for being here today.
I really appreciate you all, and any updates, I'm gonna always share with you on this platform, and anything that I can do to just, like I said, add more healing, more peace, more joy to the world. That's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, everything that I went through, these past 8 months, and something so devastating, traumatic, life changing, I don't take life for granted. I'm not in the space where I need to chase anything. I just feel like God is always going to make sure that we're okay. Nowadays you always hear people are here today, gone tomorrow. So right now I'm living life, and my mission and my movement is about uplifting, encouraging, inspiring as much as possible. And I definitely encourage people to get therapy. I used to be somebody who didn't want to talk to a therapist. I didn't feel like I had to. I thought I was like a therapist because people always came to me for information and, man, how do you do this? But going through something like that, I found it very beneficial to talk to a therapist that's helping me in ways that I never thought I needed help. And like I said, every day it's not easy. Like going through something, surviving a tornado, it's just it's not easy. I wake up every single day and I think about it every day. I think about how much I miss my house every day. I think about all the things that I still have to go after and get because it was lost in the storm. It was lost in the tornado. But just rebuilding our lives, taking it one day at a time, that's what's important, and most importantly, we didn't lose our lives. And as a family, my wife Aisha, my son Malik, how we sticking together, so it's working out.
Absolutely. And, everything, all the material stuff can be replaced.
Yep.
You and your family cannot. And, you are a true testament, reborn by the storm, man,
Yeah.
So
Reborn by the storm. That's it. Yeah.
you're a living testament to that. So thank you for sharing, your journey with us. And
Thank you.
we're looking forward to hearing more about the development of this project. I know for certain this is going to be huge. I'm really excited to be a part of it and to have you today. So thank you again for sharing your love with everyone. And
Thank you.
we appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day filming. And we look forward to hearing more about your story as it progresses.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Y'all be the first to know.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Have the best rest of the day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for listening to Trey and his story. We welcome everyone back next month for another beautiful episode of The Holistic Alternative. If anyone is interested in learning more about how to be a part of Trey's project, you can reach out to us on the show here. You can also reach out to our colleague, Ven. His email is ven.hara@gmail.com. You can also reach out to Trey on his Instagram as well, but we try to, as a collective, help with everything. Thank you guys for watching and for being a part of our segment today. Please spread love, and we'll see you in a few weeks for our next show. Take care.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.